Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Now today's first story comes from Sad Husbandry, who says, "Am I the arsehole here for wanting to leave my wife because she had a go bag? My wife and I have been together for 5 years now. We have a 2-year-old and we're planning to expand our family. I decided to tidy up my wife's closet because there was a mold problem in the garage, and I decided to inspect the whole house. There I found a gym bag with clothes, some dry fruits, some tampons, and like $1,000. I asked my wife about it and her face suddenly lost its color. At first she told me that it was just an emergency bag in case we're hit by an earthquake or something. I asked her why did she hide it from me then. After a bit of back and forth, she sheepishly confessed that it's a go bag. Basically, women who need to flee their abusers are told to keep a go bag with all essential supplies like money and clothes and stuff. I asked her why exactly does she ever feel the need to do this. I've never even talked to her in a loud voice. We barely have arguments. Why does she think I'm going to become an abuser? She said she's not saying I am an abuser. She just wanted to do it for the peace of her mind. I don't buy her excuse. I don't think she trusts me. Otherwise, she wouldn't have to go so far. I think some days, to mull it over, that I've come to the conclusion that I can't be with a woman who can't trust me and see me as an abuser. I asked her for separation and told her that I can't be with a woman who does not trust me. I believe that trust is the foundation of a relationship, and if she doesn't trust me, then it's better we part ways. Now she's making excuses that she read too many mommy forums and let herself influenced by them. She showed me the forums where they discussed go bags and how every woman should have one. I get the logic, but I can't stay with a woman who does not trust me to know that she never needed to do such a thing. I agree to take more time to think about it, but I think divorce will let her find a man she trusts not to be an abuser, because she does not trust me. Am I the arsehole here?" Edit. I am taking a break. We'll read and reply to good faith comments later. I would like to address some common things here. Statistics should not be applied to individual cases. This kind of thinking leads to racial profiling of African Americans by unfair law enforcement. Statistics does not dictate individuals, and I believe that every individual has the right not to be seen as part of a group and has statistics applied to them blindly. No, she does not have a history of abusive relationships. Sounds like it is not carte blanche to accuse anyone of anything. Dingo Ate My Baby woman was also convicted because she sounded like a murderer, and it's a shame that you guys feel so at ease of doing something so disgusting. A relationship without trust is no relationship. In the comments, Harsh Duality says, "I actively encouraged my wife to keep her own bank account when we got together. I want her to have her own money. If she wanted to keep a go bag, I would proudly embrace the life goal of making sure she never needed to use it." Joe Lefty says, "OP should consider a less drastic course of action. Marriage counseling, certainly. I get his reaction, loss of trust, but because there's a small child involved, going nuclear is going too far." Miguel says, "I was with my wife for almost 10 years before she let go of all of her escape plans. I never took it personally. Some women take a long time to feel safe. To me, it's understandable. Women in general are more vulnerable to physical violence." Umbrella says, "Don't forget that he, who I'm 90% sure is white, tried to pull a race card by likening his situation to how racism negatively affects POCs over and over again. Like holy tone deaf fuck." Gullible Elephant says, "She's getting advice from mum forums. Why should she listen to them instead of trusting me?" Anyways, let me see what Reddit has to say about this. Finding Gem says, "I can't believe she thinks I'd hurt her, so I'm gonna hurt her." Wary Ad says, "For anyone who needs context on the OP's question, he posted on Am I the Arsehole here and didn't like people telling him he is the arsehole. He came to find this board to try and find people to tell him he is right. On the other board, he described his wonderful marriage. He found a go bag in his wife's closet and then decided he was going to divorce her over it. When people didn't immediately jump to his defense, he became rude and cursed out other commenters. His behavior basically showed exactly why his wife needed a go bag." The OP came into the post 3 months later and said, "I made a post 3 months ago, but it was removed before I deleted my account. It's been cross-posted literally everywhere that I think you guys will have no problem finding it if you're interested. After I made my first post, I decided to officially ask for divorce. She did not take it well. She cried and refused to eat food for 2 days until I filled the house with candy bars. She hasn't pulled that kind of stunt after that, thankfully. For the past 3 months, I have to endure her crying, begging me to change my mind. She promised to never make a go bag again. Honestly, the previous post has been eye-opening to me. People here called me an abuser. I never did anything abusive. I've read every comment posted here on other subreddits, and it seems like people will call me an abuser no matter what. Some people even made up stories to paint me in bad light. It seems that general sentiment is that it's okay to mistrust men because statistics, and if he complains about it, he is potentially an abuser. Why is it wrong to want to be trusted by your own wife? If I made her get rid of a go bag, I'm as good as an abuser in all of your eyes. It seems like I will be painted as an abuser unless proven otherwise. I just don't know how to prove a negative. It's not like I can wear a camera all the time. Initially, my feelings were very hurt, but now I'm realizing the gravity of the situation I'm in. I just can't risk my future on a wife who does not trust me because a mere act of making a go bag was used by people here to paint me as an abuser. They said that she must have a reason to make a go bag. How was it my fault that she read some blogs and decided to do it? I never did anything, and yet people are just going to accuse me even if I didn't do anything. You guys don't care what the truth is, so what am I even supposed to do? My only choice is to leave. I finally moved out yesterday. I'm pushing forward with divorce. I'd like things to be amicable, but my wife is still hell-bent on stopping the divorce, so that is a pipe dream for now. I'm hoping that when divorce becomes real, she will accept the reality. The first commenter on that one said, I'm not sure basing a divorce on Reddit opinions is the best life choice. Another comment says, what do you mean? Reddit lets you become a lawyer after scrolling for 5 hours or getting a comment with 500 plus likes. Another commenter says, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. If you personally feel like you can't be with someone any longer for any reason, and that there is no changing your mind, the best thing to do for both parties for you is for you to end it. But if and when you decide you made a mistake, don't expect the other party to owe you their time and attention. Make Up a Name says, me and my husband spoke about the original post. I told him I had one for me and our daughter. He just asked, can I help him prepare one? A few weeks later, a house caught fire down in our town, and those people had go bags. They grabbed them on the way out, so it wasn't left as destitute. There's a lot of reasons why having a go bag is handy. I thought everyone had one until I spoke to my husband and read the comments in the first post. Cypher says, men should have go bags as well. This isn't something that's exclusive to one sex. A go bag should be viewed as an emergency bag. If you live in an area prone to acts of God, flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes, you should have one tailored to each person in the household. Creating a go bag for any reason doesn't have to mean you lack trust in your partner. It is literally a bag designed to aid in an emergency. A man or woman being physically, mentally, or emotionally abused is an emergency. It is, quite literally, that simple. Individuals and relationships are wholly unique and personal. How often do you hear stories of people's partners flipping like a switch deep into a relationship? It happens all the time, and people who have experienced this firsthand should absolutely be able to have a little emergency bag. People are complex, grey creatures. Creating an emergency bag and having inherent trust in your partner and their future self can be mutually exclusive for some. It can't be for others. We each experience life differently. Relationships requires 2 votes. If a partner doesn't agree with another making a go bag, finds it violates trust and it causes an issue, there's a single solution. You aren't compatible. That's it. And one final comment from Digital who says, lol, blaming us for going forward with your divorce is some wild ass shit, lol. If you want to divorce her, just divorce her. Don't blame random internet strangers for your choices. Are go bags a common thing? I know that commenter said that it doesn't seem like they are, but do you have yourself a go bag for emergency situations like that? The only sort of thing I've ever heard a go bag is like for pregnancy, like when going into labor, you grab your go bag and off you go to the hospital kind of thing. But I've never heard it for any other situation, which I guess it makes sense. But what do you guys make? Have you got yourselves a go bag? Let us know down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Mental Platypus 5193 from the Am I Wrong subreddit and says, "My son filed harassment charges against me and my husband because we were making him go to college. Me and my son moved to the US last year. I was a single mum for 16 years before I met and then married my husband. I saved up money so he can go to college. Where I came from, college is very important. We moved to a small town and my son found new friends. These friends, in my opinion, were not a good influence. I'm used to polite, academically oriented kids back home. These new friends of his make fun of his books and his plans of going to college. Before his high school graduation, me and my husband took him to several unis in the States so he could get a feel for which one he would like to go to. Then after he graduated from high school, I told him I have about $20,000 saved up for college. He said it's not going to fit because tuition is pretty expensive nowadays. I suggested he can just go to community college 20 minutes away and live at home to save money. He agreed and I gave him access to the fund, joint account. Long story short, he did not enroll himself and instead started partying a lot and used the money on expensive dates with his girlfriend. He moved out and stopped talking to me. I worked hard to save that up for more than a decade. I'm upset that he wasted it in less than a year. Me and my husband went to his place and asked that he pay me back since it's specifically for college and not fun money. He called the police and filed harassment charges. I told the police to review the CCTV footage because the whole time I was talking to him through his ring cam. I was calm and reasonable and my husband was just standing behind me not saying anything. I was outside the door talking. He never even opened the door to talk to me face to face. The police said there's nothing we can do if my son and his girlfriend felt harassed. He can file a restraining order if he wants to. Back home, this is unforgivable to treat your parents like this. But here in the US, I was treated almost like a criminal. My sister-in-law says it's my own fault for confronting him and that the money is his to spend since I made him a joint account owner. Am I wrong? Edit. People cursing me out because I said something about wanting to throw my chancla? Sorry about the pronunciation, on my son's face. To be clear, I've never laid hands or my flip-flops on him ever. But after what he did, my intrusive thoughts want me to throw it, but of course I won't. He called the cops on me just because I want to talk to him. What more if I threw my flip-flops on his face? His relationship with me before moving to the US was fine. He knew my struggle as a single mum and he always tries to help me around the house. I was not strict at all. He was free to go out with his friends anytime. He was even thrilled to have a father figure and my husband always tries to make him feel included in everything. Unfortunately, now I don't know the legal side of things, this is just from other stories we read, but it sounds like you made him like a legal joint account owner. The money's gone. I think that's it, the money's gone and there's not much you can do about that now. And I think with that as well, your son seems to be burning every single relationship around him at the same time, and I think you've done all you can. And I think he's going to make choices that's going to fuck his own life up at the way he's carrying on at the moment. I can only imagine how painful it is for you, your son who was seemingly happy and you got along fine before, to have this sudden switch. I imagine that's got to be pretty devastating. But Manufacture Any says, lesson learned. Never give someone access to money unless you're okay with them running away with it. Opie says he was a good boy before moving here. I thought he knew my struggles and how much I sacrificed to save money. I just thought he would never betray me like this. Ding Dong says, honestly, I think a lot of parents don't realize the depth of their children and forget that just because you think of them as one way doesn't mean that they don't have other layers that can make them a different person. Sadly, your son has found some less than savory friends to surround himself with, and now he has to live with the decision he made. I honestly wouldn't offer help for university again and would leave communication up to him. Also, has there been any questions or discussion of potential drug use? Quirkigo says, money is gone, and since he was a joint account holder and a legal adult, there's nothing to be done except refuse to help him financially anymore. Let him figure it out on his own from now on. The friends he had will likely drift away now that he no longer has a fat bank account to fund their party lifestyle. Treacle Moon says, her biggest fault is waiting till it was all gone to do something about it. She had joint access. She could have stepped in long before now and tried to deal with it. Too little, too late, unfortunately. So OP comes in with her update and says, I still have not heard from my son, and I don't expect him to reach out. but his girlfriend's mother has called me asking if my house is still open to him. I asked her why. It turns out he hasn't paid his share of the last month's rent and his girlfriend had to pay it for him. I said it's not my problem and he's not welcome here anymore in my house since he is an adult. The girlfriend's mum said, "What kind of mother would not extend help to his teenage son?" She further insulted me and said now she knows why he left me. At this point I really don't care anymore. I tried to help him get a good start in life but he wasted it. Aside from the 20k, he lived rent-free in the house, free food, free phone, car, gas money. I pay all the utilities and his health insurance. All I ask is that he focus on his studies, finish at least an associate's degree so he can get a decent job and be fully independent from me ASAP. For some who ask why college is so important to me, as an immigrant we are held under certain standards. We have to prove to USCIS that we will not become a public charge, meaning we won't rely on government aid. I want him to be able to be a good immigrant and become productive. I don't even know if he can become a citizen if he makes below poverty income. I was just trying to make sure he gets to live a good life. Some of you asked if he even wanted to go to college. Back when we were in our home country, he begged me to please send him to college no matter what. P.S. The harassment charge was closed for lack of evidence of harassment. A lot of what he said were lies. Edit. Another thing that gave me chills was when he moved out. It was in the middle of the night and me and my husband were both asleep. My son left the front door hanging open. I saw it in the camera. We live in a small town, but there's a lot of crime in our area. Someone could have gone in and done something bad. Blue Dreamer says on the back of this, some people just have to learn the hard way. His girlfriend probably had a good time with him spending his college fund. Now that it's gone, the fun is over. So comes the reality. Like Canadian says, so you're saying this is the find out stage that follows the fuck around stage. Sharp says, yep. And Snoowords reply saying his girlfriend has no right to bitch you out. Your son left, spent his college fund and now has to figure out how to adult. You do not owe him anything at this point. Lady says she's just calling her out because she's realizing she now has to take care of this bum. Butterfly Garden says, yep, she too is on the find out stage. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. It doesn't have an update as yet, but I saw a shopping cart and I thought, oh, a little bit of supermarket drama. I love a bit of that. And it says, am I the arsehole for refusing to give someone an item out of my shopping cart? My wife and I were shopping for some plants for our backyard. We picked out a tree and... Tree law? We picked out a tree and put it in our cart along with our other items. About 10 minutes later, a woman walked up to me and she said she had just purchased that tree, the one in my cart. She said she wanted that specific one. To be clear, there were 2 trees left, so she had other options. I asked her why she didn't take it with her when she decided that she wanted it. She said she removed the tag, paid for it, and intended on coming back to the garden section to pick it up. To be clear, it was not off the side, nor was there any indication that it was reserved in any way. I told her that similarly my wife and I had picked this one out, and I pointed out that there's another tree. She could just go grab that one. She said, seriously? I said, I could say the same thing. Seriously? You're asking another customer to give you an item out of their cart. Am I the arsehole? Edit. Additional info edit. Store was Walmart. Tree was a Japanese maple, about 3 to 4 feet tall, probably about 15 pounds. Tree was missing the tag. She did not show me the receipt, nor did I think to ask for it. Yes, there was an open register in the garden section about 40 feet away. This is my first Am I the Arsehole? I hope I'm not breaking the rules, but I think it's important to share my reaction when she approached me, which was, I can't believe she's asking me to hand her something that my wife and I just picked out together and is in my cart. No names left said on this one, not the arsehole. You either take the plant to the till and pay for it, or if you can't, carry it to a member of staff to do so. 10 minutes is too long a period. You snooze, you lose. Agreed if not set to the side or anything. It's not your mistake, it's hers. If her story is true, I can understand she would be annoyed, but it's her fault, not yours. I quite regularly buy plants, and until it's on my cart/trolley, I accept it isn't mine yet. Vox says, to be fair, I bought some bare root trees a couple of months ago and the store clerk told me to do exactly what the lady did. Take the tag off and go in and have it scanned and not drag trees through the entry doors, get them all torn up or break the branches. That's usually what they want you to do. Cultivating Magic says, soft jaw the arsehole, more no one's an arsehole here. Having worked in numerous nurseries over my career, that's exactly how you buy trees. Walmart doesn't want you to carry a tree in your cart through the store. I don't know why you would think otherwise, especially since they can weigh upwards of 60 to 80 pounds. Carts aren't exactly made for that. The employees would have stepped in. The underpaid employee didn't care. I wonder why. But also, both of you had good points. You didn't want to carry a tree through the store. It sounds like you were only after the tree, so it's easier for you to grab it and dip out through the nursery checkout. I've personally bought a tree from a nursery before. You may have seen it on my Twitter or X, whatever you want to fucking call it these days. A dwarf apple tree. It's still fairly big, you know, it's probably over 6 foot now at least. And I remember when buying it, I said, how do I deal with this? I'd never bought a tree before and I had to get a van to take it back home, etc. And they said exactly the same thing as this. Just take the tag to the till, pay for it, and then they'll help to bring it round to the van. And for me, I'm kind of on the fence on this one, really. I think if I'm trying to put myself in OP's position, you know, I picked up this tree, the person comes up to me. As long as they weren't rude or obnoxious to me or anything like that, I'll probably be like, yeah, fair enough. There you go. Don't worry about it. I ain't got time for that kind of drama in my life, you know. I kind of feel like the tree thing can work both ways. Just grab a different one. If they're the same or whatever, you know, what's the issue here? Maybe she's found something really special about that tree to her. Again, you might have found the same as well. So, you know, I just don't think myself I would have been that bothered about it. I would have been like, yeah, okay, no problem. Like I said, as long as the person wasn't a complete arsehole to me or something like that. I'm going to be really interested to hear your opinions on this one. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.